which was shared directly with our residents in the form of lower room and board rates. Earhart Hall has served as home to generations of Purdue students. One wing of the facility was open to men in 2003 to better balance our mix of residents and enable students to learn and interconnect with a wide variety of their peers. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Today's residents ground themselves in the values that Amelia set forward. They push themselves to break through boundaries and barriers, and they strive to reflect this passion as fellow Boilermakers. But our world is changing still. Higher education is being challenged as too expensive, and the industry is stepping in to build it faster and cheaper. Massive open online courses, or MOOCs as they are called, can capture lectures from preeminent faculty members across the world and deliver this content to a near infinite number of subscribers. Is this online learning our future? Will the residential campus still exist? Will we be here to celebrate Earhart Hall's 100th anniversary? I am passionate that we must preserve the experiences that take place on the residential campus. Learning takes place in all the work that we do. Consider the women who answered Amelia's questionnaire in the 1930s and the conversations it most certainly inspired. I am sure they asked themselves, what is the role of women in society, and how will I choose to live my life to reflect my opinion? Or consider the women 30 years later who pushed boundaries on what to wear or how to spend their time as Earhart Hall first opened its doors. Learning and how we choose to live our lives and how we choose to contribute to society happens inside and outside of the classroom. The word university comes from a Latin phrase meaning a community of masters and scholars. It is the residential community that drives academic success through cooperative learning on all corners of campus. Mere online content is simply not enough. So how do we preserve this learning? First, we must document the impact that we have by looking at how our students learn differently on a residential campus. We can also look to alumni and learn how their experiences as students impacted their careers, their civic contributions, and their lives as a whole. Finally, we must strive to make these opportunities affordable so that all students in the future can reap the benefits of learning in community. Our goal should be to help the individual be successful, not only because it's a great thing to help individuals, but also because we recognize that society benefits overall when its members are reaching their full potential. It's exciting to reflect back on the history of this facility and the inspiration to so many of us. I'm looking forward to hearing the memories being shared here today. But as we reflect on the impact of Amelia Earhart and the impact of her residence hall on so many Purdue students over the years, let's also think about our future and how we can preserve these same experiences for tomorrow's generations of students. Tomorrow, we can make a difference, just as Amelia did so long ago, and her legacy continues to do so today. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Susan Butler is not only a Boilermaker, she is a great friend to Purdue University, as well as university residences. What she's done for this university is a lengthy list, too long to share here, but I would like to share one thing about Susan, and this is my opinion only, but I think she is a modern-day Amelia Earhart. She has a pioneering spirit, she has courage, and she wants to make a difference and make this place a better place for all that come around. So Susan, please come forward.
Well, I feel honored to be here today. Wow, what a crowd. It's wonderful. Celebrating 50 years in this wonderful establishment named after my friend, Amelia Earhart. It's just amazing. And it all started, somebody said, well, how did we get here? Well, it was President Ed Elliott who got this whole thing started with Amelia. I have no idea, I'm not a big historian, but I have no idea where he met her, except he was in DC, and they were together, and he came up with this brilliant idea that said, Amelia, we'd like to have you come to Purdue. We've got an aviation school, We've got women on campus. You know, they're growing. They don't have any mentors. They need help. Won't you come? So we have Ed Elliott to thank. And I happen to know Ed Elliott's grandson, Ord. And so I talked to him periodically, and I said, I heard this story about your grandfather. And all he could say is, Susan, I have no idea where that came from. That doesn't sound like my grandfather at all. My grandfather coming up with mentoring women? I mean, I don't think so. But anyway, I found this great book that Pratt & Whitney put out in 1965, and I thought I would just read you a little bit of the background so you know how this whole thing happened. It made perfect sense that Purdue University and Amelia Earhart should be drawn to each other. A forward-looking Midwestern school, okay, famous for its excellence in engineering program, Purdue actively recruited female students to the discipline. For a woman with Earhart's independent turn of mind, the Indiana campus provided an ideal environment to her ideas about women's potential, and she lectured regularly in the mid-1930s. Purdue was one of the few universities in the world with its own airfield. Purdue, too, was keen on aviation technology. In 1936, the Purdue University Foundation gave Earhart the $80,000 needed to buy the Electra. It also helped her equip the plane. This also helped her to equip the plane with the most advanced avionics and radio equipment in the day. Earhart could not have made the flights that she did without Purdue. And perhaps to justify a conservative university's role, can you believe that, a conservative university? Ever heard that before? In such a risky adventure, the two parties began to call the Electra the flying laboratory. Had to be an educational opportunity, right? So that's a little bit of the history, that was 80 years ago. So I always tell Amelia, it's kind of interesting that Elizabeth would describe me the way she did, because I always say, I'm half Amelia Earhart and I'm half Susan B. Anthony. And that's what I do. Reaching out to everybody to say you can be all you can be, and the young women that we were at breakfast, I mean, they know that, right? Because that's what I said to them and talked to them about it. But Amelia said, this is how future focused she was in those days. Never let anyone stop you. Whatever you dream, chase it. Work hard for it. It is the best lesson I can give you, Amelia. Whatever you dream, chase it. Make things happen for you rather than let things happen to you. And in this day where we're all, some of us are talking about equality for women, she was also very future focused. She said, someday people will be judged by their individual aptitude and the things they do. And society will stop blocking off certain things as suitable for men and for women. Equality in sight by 2020, that's what many of us are looking for, to please Susan B. Anthony and to support everything that Amelia Earhart has said for us. We're fortunate to have had Amelia in our lives, whether it's been through books, through all the movies that are out, through all the pictures, the collection. I hope all of you have taken advantage of some of the artifacts that are downstairs. But when there's we have the biggest collection of Amelia Earhart artifacts of anywhere. And I just, every time I go see a display of them, it's amazing. Things like her prenuptial agreement in the 1930s. I thought, where did that come from in the mid-1930s? Here, George, on the eve of their wedding. Here's my prenup. And she was a designer, a dress designer. She wrote a book, but it had to be under a pseudonym. I mean, all of these things we've got over there and more. So anytime there's an opportunity, please take advantage because it's really a wonderful exhibit. So to her legacy, we have history with Purdue, the collection, actually the beginning of women's networks. What did I write? Oh, the 99ers. There were 99 women in aviation. That's their name. And that was seen as one of the very first women's networks. So she really was, from today, ahead of her times. And maybe someday soon, I'm hoping, I know they'll find the plane, some remnant, I know that'll happen because the technology is getting so great and the sonar and all of that. And there is a plan in place to go once again to the faraway island and using the sonar of today and getting involved in it, to see what remnants we can find because they feel very sure that they know how to get there and there will be something. Amelia says, never let anybody stop you. It didn't stop President Eliot. It didn't stop Amelia from coming to Purdue. She contributed to our aviation technology. She contributed to the mentoring of all the students in the residence hall in Doomy. President Cordova didn't stop her from bringing Amelia back to campus. And it didn't stop us celebrating where we are today, 50 years of the Amelia Earhart Residence Hall. Thank you all for being here to celebrate this wonderful occasion, to celebrate this wonderful woman that is a part of all of our lives, and the impact that she's made and will continue to make to zillions of people. I don't know how many that is, but it's a term that I like to use. Zillions of people, no matter where they are, Amelia will be there helping us all to do things that we want to do, to make things happen for us rather than let things happen to us. So never let anyone stop you, whatever your dream. Work hard for it. You'll find it. But this is the best lesson I can give you. Thank you, Amelia, and thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, I'd like to kind of just know who's in our audience here. If you are an Earhart resident or have been an Earhart resident, and you've held a position in the Itasca Club or student organization, would you please stand? Wow, great. How about any RAs/counselors, staff residents? Oh, look at them all stand up. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's just see. Anybody here from the 1990s? You graduated, you lived in Earhart Hall and you lived in the 1990s. Okay, yes, yeah. Okay, thank you. You can be seated. How about the 1980s? Oh, great. How about the 1970s? Very good. And how about the 1960s? Oh, wow. That is great representation. Thank you so much for coming and representing all of our 5 decades. You know, one of the many fun things about putting on an event like this is you get to hear some fun comments. And they're just things I really treasure. Lots of people share some fun things, but one Purdue staff member shared with me as we were getting ready to do all this. This person did not go to Purdue. In fact, she had gone to, has a couple degrees from other schools, and she says, I'm so surprised that people are so connected to their residence halls here. She said, we just didn't have that in my schools where I went. And then, which I thought that was a neat observation. And then another alumni said to me, this was so funny, she says, heck, I'm not going to my high school reunion, but I am not going to miss an Earhart Hall anniversary. She says, I love Earhart Hall. So I thought that was interesting. Okay. Lila Height. Some people don't even know her first name. Lila Height. Mom Height. You were mom to many, many women who lived in Earhart Hall. She loved the students, and she valued and told them that they were getting a great education. She encouraged them, and like Susan said, she encouraged them to be all they could dream to be. And she did that night after night after night as they came to visit her at the main office for 25 years. In the summer, we switched her role to giving day on campus tours. She knew every single freshman's name that was coming into Earhart Hall, and they all wanted to look for her that first day when they moved here in August. So they already had a support system started before they got here. So Lila's a very, very special person to the Earhart history. Please welcome Lila Height.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Elizabeth and the events committee for creating such a wonderful celebration. My thank you to Molly Storr. She's vice president of the Itasca Club, for accepting the challenge to be my hostess for the day. John Norberg recently wrote, "A lot changes as we age, but love does not." As you know, I loved my job, the students, the staff, and often said that they could have any job but mine. I don't go back as far as Amelia, but I would like to share some of the changes in my job description